friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to have a fun fantasy reading vlog of book 1 of the Infernal Devices. I'm super excited to share my thoughts and feelings of this book. I'm actually filming this a bit out of order because I've already read this book. This is Future Ray talking right now. I have already read this book, and when I set out to do this vlog, I was originally hoping to do all 3 books in one video. And then as I started reading and I started sharing my thoughts with you guys, I quickly realized I love to talk, and there is no way I could have made a condensed video of all 3 books in a time that wouldn't be excessively long. And so I decided to just do one video per book, and so this video is going to be for book 1. I've shared all my thoughts and my feelings on it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. If you've read this book, please let me know down below what you guys thought of it. I have a lot of interesting thoughts on it, and I'm gonna pass it off to Past Ray to kick off the reading vlog and share my thoughts with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Hello friends, I wanted to do a reading check-in because I'm somehow already 60% into A Clockwork Angel, and I have yet to check in with you guys. And that's not to say I haven't been enjoying it. I just really haven't had that many reactions or thoughts right now because I feel like we're doing a lot of world building in this book thus far. But I wanted to check in and just basically tell you guys what's going on, what I've read so far. So Clockwork Angel is set in London in the 1800s, which is really interesting that we're so far ahead in this universe, because if you know the Mortal Instruments, that's set in New York in like present day basically. And so it's really interesting being set in London and it's the 1800s, and we're following our main character Tessa, and she is on the search for her brother because her aunt has died, and basically she has no family now. Like, her parents died when she was really young, then it was just her aunt and her brother moved out to London, and now Tessa's on the way to London in hopes of finding her brother. However, when she gets there, things take a twist, a turn if you will. She meets these dark sisters, aka these like warlocks, witches, and they basically kidnap her and they force her to change. And basically what we discover is that Tessa is a shapeshifter, but she can also read the minds and like thoughts and emotions and feelings and memories of the people she shapes into if they're alive or dead, which is really interesting that she is like that connected when she shapeshifts. And that's kind of an anomaly because that's such a rarity in the shapeshifting world, I guess, because normally when people shapeshift, they don't get the emotions or memories, but Tessa can, and so that makes her very valuable. And the Dark Sisters have kidnapped her, and they tell her, we also have your brother held hostage, so you'll never be free, kind of thing. And so she's like, you know, in despair. She thinks this is it, this is the end, and then she gets saved by, of course, some shadow hunters, and that's when we meet Will and Jem. And they are basically her age as well, and we also meet some other characters at the Institute as well. We get the whole spiel of what is the Institute and what are shadow hunters and this whole world that she is now a part of. And so it's a very interesting dynamic, and getting to see kind of like, I guess, the early stages of the contract being signed, by the accords, that being signed by every party. So it's very new-esque, these rules that are set in place. So we get to see this dynamic unfold because when we read the Mortal Instruments, it's been around for so long that it's just like second nature for everyone. So it's really interesting kind of getting this early onset look of what it was like back then. But then we also, I think, are getting a little love triangle between Will, Jem, and Tessa. I kind of don't like the name Jem. Is that his name? Is that how you say it? Jem. I just like kind of don't love it, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a love triangle based on something that I like highlighted between the 2 boys like chatting with each other, because they both acknowledge that they think Tessa is cute, and it's just kind of like uh-oh. So I'm very excited for that to unfold. And basically she gets rescued by the shadow hunters. Let's get back on track right now. Tessa gets rescued by the shadow hunters, and they kind of realize like, oh my gosh, you're such an anomaly, like you can do all this magical stuff and yet you don't have any weird quirks about you like other warlocks do. And then Tessa agrees to help the Institute with like uncovering more bad guys, I think, in and what's going on, as long as they help her recover her brother or find her brother or like just get clarity on what's happened to him. And so where I just left off is that our girl Tessa shapeshifted into a little vampire and infiltrated a coven, and supposedly they were trying to just get more information out of the coven and just like uncover to see if they're doing anything bad, breaking the laws or anything like that. And lo and behold, her brother is there, held prisoner, kidnapped, badly beaten, and was about to be a little bloodbag. And then of course a little throwdown went down between the Shadowhunters and vampires, and they have recovered her brother. And that's basically what's happened thus far. It's very interesting dynamics, and like truly I feel like it's just been a lot of world building up to the 60% mark. It's been really entertaining. I do love kind of all the Easter eggs Cassandra has like placed throughout the book, but also just like, I guess they're not even Easter eggs. I guess it's just the world building that she's done, like the Pandemonium Club. I don't know why that's hard for me to say sometimes, but that's referenced, like that's a huge part in this book, and it's obviously something that happens, or it's a place referenced in City of Bones. So being able to see like that thread, to see how long this thing has existed, is very fascinating and just, I think, great world building. So I'm very loving it. Oh my gosh, how could I forget? We met Magnus Bane. We get to see Magnus Bane a little bit and his interaction. He was at the Vampire Coven. Of course he would. And just that dynamic. So it's really fun getting these like people we already know, and then stuff we already kind of know, and then we just get to see stuff fleshed out more. The world building, we get to meet some of the early Lightwood family in this book, which is also just like crazy to see where they are now and then how they end up. So very interesting, if I do say so myself. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. Again, I've tabbed a few things. Oh, I don't know if you can see. I've tabbed a few things in here, nothing like too crazy where I'm like giggling, kicking my feet, screaming. I also just have this sickening feeling that one of these characters is gonna die. I'm not gonna say who yet, but I just have like this sickening feeling someone's gonna die at some point in this book, and I really hope that's not the case. Regardless, Tessa and her brother are reunited, and I need to see what happens now, because I thought that was gonna be like the whole book, but we are like 60% in and we've already rescued the brother. So I don't know how this is gonna happen or what's gonna happen. But I do feel like Cassandra Clare, she loves to throw in a good plot twist at the end, so I'll have to read. I'll have to read and see what happens. I am now 72% into A Clockwork Angel, and I wanted to check in with you guys. I also took notes this time while I was reading, so that way in my check-in with you guys, I wasn't like rambling, and I actually had my thoughts together and just points that I didn't want to forget. So where we kind of left off in my last check-in with you guys was we just found her brother Nate, Tessa's brother. His name is Nate. We just found him, recovered him from this vampire coven, and we're taking him back to the Institute to hopefully get some information out of him. So he is basically going in and out of consciousness. He's basically like almost in a coma, but not. And he has apparently been taking some drugs, like magical drugs, so he's really going through it. He's detoxing, he's freaking out, he thinks he's being held hostage and that the Institute's bad guys. Tessa's freaking out that he's freaking out, so it's just overall freak out fest. So that's kind of what's happening when we first get back into this. But then when basically everyone's like, okay, Tessa, you just need to let Nate rest and go to bed and relax yourself. Tessa's like, fine, I guess I'll do that. And of course she just so happens to like help out Will in his little predicament that he's going through right now. And they have a little moment and they finally kiss. So I guess Will is the leading man right now. I don't really know, but they kissed, they had a moment. Tessa's like clearly freaking out because she's like, oh my God, my first kiss. And then Will is being kind of a douchebag and like then brushes her off and forces her to leave and go away. And so Tessa's just like left wondering what the heck is going on. And it's so clear that Will likes Tessa, but he doesn't want to admit that. And Tessa knows that he probably likes her, but doesn't want to admit it. So it's just like a very much like what's going to happen, because Tessa's aware that Will is kind of self-destructive and he lies and says things that he doesn't actually mean. And he then hurts Tessa's feelings later on with some things that he says. And it's just kind of like, Will, you're pushing someone who cares for you. Why are you doing this? So that's happening. And so it's kind of like the next day, Tessa goes to bed kind of distraught and confused, but also like, oh my God, I can't believe I just had my first kiss. And she kind of runs into Jem, and Jem is kind of trying to comfort her about what's happening and stuff like that. And they go on this little walk together. Basically, Jem has decided to take her to his favorite spot in the city, and as they're going there, they encounter some of these animatronics. Basically, that's these vampires are putting together. That's who everyone thinks is doing it. These animatronics start attacking them, and they're freaking out. So then they run back to the Institute, and then it's just like full-blown like attack happening, like a mini attack. It's not full-blown because the animatronics kind of retreat, or they get cut and die. They're not real, but they just like get cut up from all the swords and stuff, and that they die. That's kind of what's happened. And then towards the end of this chunk, Tessa's like woken up from her sleep and is alerted that her brother is missing. So something odd is happening with the brother, and I don't really know if he's like truly good or maybe he's just this messed up. I don't know. I just have this underlining gut feeling that something with the brother is not right, and I don't know what it is. I'm a little suspicious. I'm on edge. I'm just like, something doesn't track. I don't know. And then I also never talk about this character, but there's a girl named Jess who is also a shadow hunter at the Institute, and she very much hates being a shadow hunter. She doesn't want to fight. She just wants to wear pretty dresses, take care of a house, have kids, basically be a little girl, you know, at home. I know, not a little girl, but you guys know what I mean. Like, she wants to be like a trad wife, basically. She doesn't like being a shadow hunter, so she's like trying to like flirt with Nate or like take care of him because that will make Nate fall in love with her later on, she says. So yeah, basically Jess is desperate to get out of the shadow hunter world. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. Just something about Nate bothers me, and I don't know what it is, but I'm like, are you truly like, I don't know. Something's off. So we'll see. In my next check-in, I will share what happens. I think I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like flying through this book. That is the 72% check-in, my friends. You guys, I have such a fun package to show you guys. So my mom surprised me, and she ordered a bunch of blind dates with books, and they have turned out so cute. They're now coming in. I had no idea she was going to do this for me. And she's bought it from a few different places like TikTok Shop, Etsy, Amazon. And so just a few of them have arrived, but I had to show you. So the first one that I opened was from an organization called blinddatewithabook.org, and they basically will take used books from libraries or just in general used books and help repurpose them in this way. So I got 2 books. I've already opened one because the wrapping was already kind of coming off, and so I just wanted to, well, one, I wanted to open it, but I figured because that one was already ripping, I could open that one. And so I got 2 from there, and then I got this other one, and I literally can't tell you which one this came from, either TikTok or Etsy. But look how cute this one is. Have no idea what it is, but I'm very excited to open it. It's green themed, and I love the little wax seal and like the little stickers for annotating, a highlighter, some bookmarks. I mean, just really cute packaging. And then this next one came in a big old box. Okay, so this is what this one came in. It came in with like a little cup and a koozie situation, and then it has this hot chocolate, hot tea, a pen, some stickers, a bookmark, and the wrapping paper is very cute on it. And then it came with a little card saying thank you. And then I think it also had some little chocolates in here, but this is so cute. Oh my gosh, I truly cannot wait to see what these books are. But I think it's gonna be a fun video idea of opening these up and then reading them and seeing my thoughts and opinions on them. But I can share the book that I opened already because I was excited to open something, and I just wanted to see like kind of the vibes that I was gonna be getting. And so my mom also does not remember what she like placed orders for. Like, she just can't remember like what she requested or like genres or anything like that. So it's gonna be a surprise for all of us, and I'm really excited. So the book that I first opened was Point of Graves, a New England history mystery. I don't know, history mystery. That was a little hard to say, but this is what it looks like. I looked it up on Goodreads, and I think it has less than 50 reviews on it, but all the reviews are giving it a 5 stars. So I'm really curious on what this one will be like. I think it's honestly a perfect book for fall. So I might save it for then, or I might read it in the video when I open up all these and read them. But I just had to like pop in and show y'all because this is literally so fun and exciting, and I'm just so excited. And I'm gonna do a little reading update now because I finished A Clockwork Prince and I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. And the reason for that is because the entire time I was reading the book, I kept feeling like something was missing. And I don't know what it is. And I'm wondering if it's just because I truly do believe this book is setting up for books 2 and 3, that maybe it just felt too much like a filler setup book, or just too much world building. And it wasn't even that crazy world building. Like, I don't know, there's just something missing for this book that didn't really hit home with me. So I enjoyed reading it. I still had a really fun time. And I was totally right about Nate being a little sneaky snake. Fake of him. And then the last, like, I guess 25% of the book, there was a full-on like mini war that was happening between the vampires and the shadow hunters, but then it turns out this mundane was actually running the show and tried to get our girl Tessa to leave with him, but Tessa did a little switcheroo and got him back. And so now this mundane thinks that Tessa's actually dead, but she's alive, and now she's staying at the Institute. And of course, her and Will have beef. Will's being annoying, and then Jem's just being good old sweet Jem. So I love him. I also don't know if I said this in my last update, but we got more backstory on Jem, on why he is like pale, fair-skinned, silver hair, like basically not as colorful, or like basically the total opposite of Will. He's like very fair-skinned and silvery hair and cool-toned. And that is because we found out his backstory on that. When he was younger, he was like captured by a demon, and this demon tortured his family, and now he's basically addicted to like these demon drugs because he was like tortured with it, and his body literally cannot survive without it now. And that was literally so depressing to read about. I was like, oh, this is sad. This is so sad, and it makes me love this sweet little boy more now. So I'm just so curious how this like love triangle is gonna commence, what's gonna happen, because I feel like Tessa likes Will more, but then she's always surprised by Jem, because Jem is like this consistently kind man. So very curious on how all that's going to play out. Obviously, I'm going to pick up the next book right now because I need to know what happens. And it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. Like Will, at the very end, it's Will seeking Magnus Bane for something. We don't know what, but he's seeking Magnus Bane's help for something. So really curious on how this is all going to play out and what's going to happen in these next books, because I feel like there's basically going to be a bigger war between this mundane, who is, I think, Mortimer, what's his name? He's basically like this wealthy guy in England, and he's like very into like the magical world that most mundanes aren't aware of. So he's very aware of like warlocks and vampires and werewolves and shadow hunters. He's aware of all of this like energies and stuff like that, and so he's trying to capitalize on them with his like factory making business to make these animatronics and make them like actually real life, because right now they're kind of like piecemealed, not that great. But if he is able to like build them and then use dark magic to make them have like a soul, then they're actually living. So I feel like that's what the next books are going to be about, like following him, trying to stop him and saving the world and that kind of thing. But overall, not bad. I think I maybe had a little bit too high of expectations, but I'm curious to see what the next ones will be about. So that's it. That's my little update and my little fun book haul. So yeah. Alrighty friends, that was my reading vlog for book 1 of The Infernal Devices. I hope you enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed it. I did have some like iffy feelings of like wanting more from it, but overall it was an entertaining read. And I hope you stick around for the next video so you can see my reactions to book 2, because oh boy, is it juicy. There's some good stuff in the next video, so make sure to stick around. Like I said earlier in the video, if you've read this book, make sure to comment below your thoughts on it, or if you've read this trilogy, let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe so you can stay up to date on when I post videos. Also, make sure to check out my book Instagram account. I'm posting on there pretty frequently. If you really want to stay up to date on what I'm currently reading, definitely check that out. But I'll catch you in my next video. Bye guys.